the task, not just one, there were a few of them. So I was just asking in one word, summarize the experience. I said one word. Hey, we've got people here who, I would say, is it over syllabus now? Daria Ademola said, the new challenge, however, the explanation was very detailed. All right. In that case, I think it's okay to appreciate our mentor who took his time to take us through that particular demo section. I'm talking about our mentor, Emmanuel Oimafu. Please, let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him. He deserves a rapturous round of applause. Adaobi Onyema is a share. So far, so good. Okay. Rukayat Ajignle, awesome. And Decay, amazing. Michelle Emmanuel, exciting. Uruma Unufe, engaging. Okay, it's good to get all this feedback. It's good to get all this feedback, and I must say, well done to everyone. So we've got just 2 minutes to start. So at the 4 o'clock mark, this session will commence. So I'll just urge us to, if there's anything that will come anyway in form of distraction or any form of hindrance, so it's better we do away with them now and get a comfortable space just for you to be fully immersed in the teaching of today. Trust me, we've said several things as it relates to the task that we took during the week, but this time around, it's going to be wow. I'll go into details in a few minutes. We just want others to join, so we are all carried along. Afolabi Alice, your hand has been up for a while. Can allow you speak at this point very quickly, or if that was a mistake, okay. All right. I think that was a mistake. Okay, we've got more people joining us. All right. It's 4 o'clock on the dot. Can see that to a large extent, we do not need to go over rules of engagement on the sessions we will be having. We all joined. Mike, they were all muted. Please, let's maintain this so we can have a smooth flow in all our sessions. I'm Amos, and I will be moderating this particular session. I'll just urge us to open our minds. Let's be, I would say, open to learning new things. I'm sure some of us have had interactions before now, because as mentioned before now, this particular bootcamp is not for beginners. But thankfully, we have videos, recordings of previous trainings that we had in the previous bootcamp that has been shared a couple of times on the WhatsApp group, just for us to catch up with whatever is going to be taught today. I think there were 3 different videos with interesting learning parts that were shared Okay, so if you are yet to do that after this class, you can still go back so that you are not left in the dark. So we've got two speakers who will be taking us through the class for today. I will be yielding the control to the first speaker in less than a minute. So the topic, we already have it displayed on our screen: secure access to resources by using Microsoft Entra. Please note and just be prepared for it. We will be having 3 demo sessions today, okay? And all of this will take us about 2 hours, 30 minutes. Trust me, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be eye-opening, and we will definitely love all the points that will be shown out of this particular session that we're about going into. So I'll just introduce briefly. You've met him before now, and you've seen his I will say, several videos, guidelines, instructions that he's been sending in the course of the week. Is who I'll call a big time organizing member of this particular bootcamp. And he's not just an organizer, he's also a mentor. He's a Microsoft MVP. He's also a Microsoft certified trainer. So if our hands are not too busy, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Emmanuel Itoje. If you don't clap or react, it won't speak. Keep them coming. Let's overload the screen with our favorite emojis. All right, mentor Emmanuel Itoje, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Amos. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Can you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you, fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this call on time. And I can see that we are 85 on the call, and this is super impressive. I'm very, very happy for this. And one thing I didn't mention the last time, probably I could have mentioned it somewhere, somehow in our conversation last time, was that this community is a global community, and there is not such thing as African time. If you're going to see, we're going to start a session by 4, it's going to start by 4. For those that joined early, you'll notice that most of the mentors are also here before 4 o'clock. The reason is because you have to ensure that everything runs smoothly, and we have to keep the time because each of us are very busy. Sincerely, I ought to be sleeping by now, but because I wanted to take care of this first session, that's the reason why I'm here, and also here to share the knowledge with us. So I want to appreciate us for those that joined early, and also use this opportunity to appreciate all our organizers. Without them, we'll not be able to have this bootcamp. When I shared the vision of the bootcamp with them, that this is something I think we should do as a community, as Microsoft is introducing new certifications for cloud security and cloud and AI security. I think we should leverage on this, and they bought into the vision, and we've been planning for months. Actually, we've been planning this bootcamp for months. We're having a series of meetings. Even while I was away on vacation, they continued with the planning till I was able to join back after my vacation, which was just before our class last week. So I want to appreciate all our leaders. Thank you so much for planning this bootcamp. I also want to appreciate all our mentors that also volunteer to be taking us, because of what the volume of what we want to cover and the way we structured this bootcamp, we actually needed a good number of mentors, and we had a good number of turnover from the mentors. We have over 10 mentors that is helping us to ensure that this 6-month bootcamp is successful. And like I mentioned last week, these are maybe one other class, and the final class will be the only class I'll be handling for the entire bootcamp, but it will be running every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time. So we'll try as much as possible to keep to that 2 hours. But again, some sessions might spill over 2 hours because of the fact that maybe there'll be demo, there'll be labs, and there'll be question and answers that the mentors need to answer for us, just to clarify the concept for us. Also, I would like to appreciate our sponsors, our partners. We have an organizations that has volunteered to sponsor us. I mean, one of the things we needed for this bootcamp is to ensure that this bootcamp is actually hands-on for everybody, meaning that everybody will have a lab environment. And our mentors were on call with a partner yesterday, so they've promised to create a lab environment for every one of us for the sports camp, and for the mentor also. So you're gonna have access to a lab environment, but we are still waiting for us to have access so that we can start creating for each and every one of us throughout the sports camp, so that you have something to actually demo with. And one of the benefits in the lab environment is that everyone is going to have $100 Azure credits to practice every month, and the lab environment will be available for you for 1 year. So even after the boot camp, you still have access to the lab environments to practice for additional 6 months also for continuous learning. So as soon as that is available, once you have access, we're going to share the credentials across for everyone so that you'll be able to have your own lab environment. So I want to say a big thank you to our partner, to the organizations. You get to know them shortly on our social media. We're going to actually publicize them so that you can also appreciate us, appreciate the partner on our behalf, because for us to have that access level, it's something that is mind-blowing. And apart from that, everyone in this boot camp will be eligible for 50% Microsoft discount voucher. So one of the benefits that comes with the accounts will be creating for you. It comes with a 50% Microsoft voucher, meaning that instead of paying $83, you get to pay just half of that automatically with your account. So it is still the partner that is also helping us with these benefits. There are a lot of other benefits. You have access to OneDrive, about 100 gigs cloud storage, also that you can even save some of your work in also. So a lot of amazing benefits. When our leadership team went on our meeting yesterday and gave us this feedback, I was super excited. So thank you so much to our partners. We'll be unveiling them shortly during the week on our social media pages. Now also, before we jump into it, I don't want this class to be boring. It's going to be mostly hands-on. I'm only going to go through my slide. I have a couple of slides, and I'll hand over to our mentor, Uche, to actually take us through the demo. So I don't want to spoil us, but why I'm doing this is to ensure that we don't have to repeat this again and again, so that you understand why we are doing what we do. One of the tasks that we shared during the week was that everyone is supposed to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's very, very important that you do that. Why? Because we're trying to grow our YouTube channel such a way that we can get monetized. When we monetize, every money that we get from YouTube, we go back into the community. So if there's a need for us to do sponsorships, scholarships for our mentees, from those money that we get from our YouTube channel, we'll be able to channel it into those sponsorship, scholarship opportunity. Maybe there are people that need 100% discount vouchers. We'll be able to do that. So it's very important that that particular tax one, you carry it out, subscribe to our channel, watch the recording. Sometimes maybe in your office, you have unlimited internet. Just playing out the video, put it on mute, let it be playing, because we need the play hour also as part of the things that YouTube is going to check to ensure that the community is earning from the YouTube channel. The second tax was a tax on our meetup, right? We created a meetup page for 2 reasons. Number one, so that we can organize all our events. If you go to our meetup page, for example, now you see that two sessions have been hosted, which is this session and next week's sessions. Other sessions will also be hosted on that particular page. Now, as a community, before we are able to set up that meetup page, it actually cost us almost €50 to actually, and one of our leaders actually volunteer. She sponsored that. And we have a renewal cycle of every 7th of the month, meaning that on the 7th, we expect to pay another almost 50 euro. That's almost 80,000 naira, right? But we can get sponsorship from Microsoft to be paying that for us. But the only two ways we can get a sponsorship is, first of all, how many members we have. So Microsoft is going to check, do we have enough members? Once we are able to get enough members, so the goal is to push the membership of that our meetup page to 500 so that we can apply for the sponsorship, meaning that going forward from next month, we won't have to pay, because if we don't get that sponsorship, meaning that the leadership team, we have to tax ourselves to ensure that we keep that meetup page up, meaning we have to raise another 50 euro to renew that meetup page. But we don't want to do that. So that's why we are calling for your support as a community, so that get people, post it on your WhatsApp status, post it on your social media, get as many people to actually be member of that particular meetup page, so that we can have a good number, so that by the time we apply for the sponsorship from Microsoft, they will be able to approve it, and Microsoft will continue paying that for life. We don't have to pay any other thing again. So that is the reason for the second task that we gave. Then the third task we gave was to actually watch a video. So between October last year to February this year, we had the first bootcamp, which was about 6 month bootcamp, which was a foundation. It covered SE 900 and SE 300. And part of the SE 300 is one of the one of the modules we'll be covering as part of today's topic, right? So the reason why I asked us to watch that video was because we're not going to go into that detailed, because I took my time to go into detail for that, even though we'll do as much as possible to break it down also into this class. But watching that video will actually help you to make this class actually make more meaning for you, because I took my time to explain that particular topic. It was a topic, but it's only part of a module here. We have 3 modules to cover in today's topic. So one of the modules was actually a topic in SE 300, which I actually took myself. So I encourage you to go watch that video in case you want to get more value for today's session. I can't remember the task 4 again. I think, yes, I remember that the task 4 was for you to follow us across all our social media. And for everything we do, this is something about me. There's always a purpose behind it. I don't just do things without a purpose behind it. Now, by next year, March, first quarter next year, we are planning to host one of the biggest African cloud security summits, meaning that it's going to be a very big summit that we invite people across the globe. Microsoft security MVPs globally will be invited as speakers in that particular bootcamp. Now, because of how we have envisioned the bootcamp, the conference, because of how we've envisioned the conference, right? It's going to be very big. So we're going to need sponsors. Now, by next week now, the program organizing committee will start planning for it. So it's going to be a 6-month planning or almost 9 months planning. By August, we will start sending out sponsorship letters to different organizations to sponsor us, so that they can include it in their next year budget, so that they know that, okay, this community is planning to have a conference and they will need about 10 to 20 million naira to have this conference. The conference is going to be hybrid, meaning that people in Nigeria will be able to attend physically, and it's going to be free. Because if you're going to make it a paid conference, it wouldn't make sense. Just the same way our bootcamp is free, the conference is going to be free as well. But we need sponsors to take care of a lot of logistics, right? So we are trying to grow all our social media channel, grow our followership, putting content, right, that people can engage with. When their content, that's whenever our social media team posts something, please engage with it, like it, comment on it, so that we have that followership. Because we are going to the sponsors to tell them that we have the certain number of followership on across all our social media. When you sponsor us, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you a free publicity across all our social media based on the sponsorship level. Definitely for every sponsor, we're going to advertise them. So we need to grow those are social media channels to ensure that by the time we are going to those organizations, we are telling them that we have this number of followership. It will make sense to imagine we have 1 million followership across all our social media, meaning that by the time we advertise their organizations across our social medias, they're going to get people know about them. So these are the reasons why we are giving those tasks. It's not to burden us at all. It's just a way for you to support us back while we're making all this boot camp as well as the conference free for us. So I don't know if there are questions based on this before I jump into today's session. In the next 3 minutes, I'll jump into the session. So if you have questions, you can raise your hands. If you have questions, you can read it. I'm going into the chat in case there are questions. I can't see any questions in the chat. Do we have questions? Does it make sense? Everything I said, if it makes sense, can I see some reactions? Use the reactions button. I want to know if everything I've said so far makes sense. Reactions. I want to see reactions. I'm not seeing any reactions. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Or is it okay to allow one or two to speak?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. That's the purpose.
So,
that's the purpose. Yeah, please go ahead.
So, and if you are in a position to speak, please raise your hand. You will be called just to react, or maybe you have a comment or contribution.
Yeah, feedback for us. Anything. Yeah. Okay. Efe.
Hi, thank you very much. I just honestly, I think what you guys are doing is priceless. There's no amount of words or praises that could quantify the value that you are bringing to the Nigerian community and the international community. And as far as it concerns us in Nigeria, it's a real response and solution to the so-called Olodo uprising issues that we have in the country, that we still have people that are doing this kind of amazing job without any financial commitment on the part of the participants. So I think you are really doing a good job. I cannot commend you enough.
Thank you so much for that, Efe. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. So I think for others, we'll just take your comments or contributions just in 30 seconds.
We can take them, yeah. We can take them.
Yeah, in 30 seconds just to manage our time. Thanks, Efe. Emmanuel Michel. Hope I pronounced the name correctly. Yeah. You have the floor, please.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks to the organizing committee, the mentors, and the moderator for this section. I have a question regarding the meetup link. So if we get people to join the meetup link, would they have access to these trainings? For instance, we had the last section and this section, the links were shared to register for this training. Once they join the meetup link, will they have that same level of access to join the Saturday trainings?
All right, thank you so much for that. So really and truly, after today, we'll not be onboarding any other person again, right? But again, it's just a way for them to, support us, right? Apart from this bootcamp, there are other sessions that'll be going on. Like for example, now the leadership team has been thinking of an inspiration session. Those inspiration sessions are non-technical sessions. We're going to bring different professionals, right? In cloud security, Microsoft security, Azure security. We'll have a 1 hour session. The goal of those sessions is to actually share their experience, right? About how they started a career, how they are growing in the career, just to share their experience generally. So they'll be able to join those sessions. But this particular bootcamp, anyone that doesn't join today's class, we are not admitting people in again. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, very clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Abel, you have the floor.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Kudos to you guys for actually setting up this platform and giving our fellow Nigerian brothers and sisters and any other person joining around the world. I really appreciate you guys for doing this, because there are actually few platforms that will actually grant such opportunity for brothers and sisters in the diaspora, even back home, for impacting them, giving them such empowerment to actually participate in the global stage of IT and technology. So my question is actually, I'm trying to ask specifically to the coordinators. Is your platform only going to be based on Microsoft technology? Because if we check around the world, there are different types of vendors out there that offer different types of technologies like Google, AWS, and other platforms. So is this solely going to only be with Microsoft, or are you going to open more platform to other technologies out there so that you can also partner with them and which you actually give your mentees more opportunity out there, especially in the IT marketplace? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abel. So as the name implies, Microsoft Naija Security Community. So we are solely Microsoft community. So we don't do GCP, we don't do AWS, we don't do any other technology. Although this is something that is open, right, to discussion with the leadership team, if we should look at maybe AWS security or GCP, but this is a Microsoft community. Microsoft has a lot of products so the security is not just for one product, it's across all Microsoft products. Dynamics 365 security, we're going to have a bootcamp for that. Power Platform security, those are future plans, right? So we focus solely on Microsoft. It's a Microsoft community. I hope that answers your question.
Yes,
thank you,
yes,
sir.
yes.
Thank you. Yeah, Demia, you have the floor.
All right. Can anybody hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much to the management and leadership of this group for the good work you're doing. I can't say much more than everybody has said. You're doing quite an amazing job, and we appreciate you. The question I have is pretty simple. My apologies, I was not able to join for the first session. This is my first session joining. I'm glad I was able to go through the first recording from beginning to end and been able to complete the task that was done. The question I just like to ask is, joining this meeting, I have not had any access to sort of a registration form or what was said in the previous videos that I watched. I was just asking if there's going to be a window where we get to register. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Demia. So an attendance form is going to be shared by one of our leaders. So meaning that everybody on this call is expected to mark the attendance, because it is the attendance of today we'll be using to create your accounts for your lab environment. So that's the reason why we are not admitting any other person again into the bootcamp. So the last week attendance, we are scrapping it. The registration form, we still have the data, right? But what is important is that everyone that is on this call today need to mark the attendance. I think the attendance also come with the feedback form as well. Give us a feedback, mark the attendance. So the data we'll collect today is what we'll be using to create your lab environment. So that's the reason why nobody will be joining this bootcamp after today. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, if you we have to jump into the session, we'll take the remaining questions after the session. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Once again, please can you confirm you can actually see my screen? I'm sharing my screen and what you can see on the screen.
Okay, I can see your screen. And
right.
what I can see is secure access to resources by using Microsoft Entra.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, so let's jump into it. Let me introduce myself before I started. My name is Emmanuel Itoje. Like Amos introduced me, I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, a Microsoft certified educator as well. In my current role, I'm a technical architect. I focus on security across all Microsoft products, including AWS, right? I'm a cloud security architect. That's my current role. And on the call with me, I have a co-mentors who is going to turn on his camera now and introduce himself. Uche, can you please turn on your camera and introduce yourself, please?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. So good day, everyone. My name is Uchechukwu Azunna.
I am a certified Microsoft 365 administrator, and with more than 5 years experience in managing and administering Microsoft 365 tenant and Entra ID. Okay, so I'll be handling this session with Emmanuel.
Thank you so much. Okay, fantastic. So like I mentioned, I'll be handling the presentation and Uche will be taking us through the demo for today. So secure access to resources by using Microsoft Entra. Now, if you have gone through the SE900 video that we mentioned, we asked everyone to go through the SE900 video. There's a concept called the face index. So there are layers of defense. So one thing that Microsoft has done is that because of the era of cloud, the new identity or the new security perimeter becomes identity, meaning that what the bad actors used to be after in the olden days is your network. Maybe when you have the on-prem network, and I mean on-prem, a server network, right? But now they know that once they can get hold of an account, especially a privileged account, they'll be able to compromise the tenant. When I talk about tenants, I'm talking about the directory, right? So identity being the new security perimeter implies that we need to be able to secure identities for users. So if you have gone through that SE900, you have the fundamental knowledge, because this is just like a revision then for us, and Uche will take us through the lab part of things. Right, so let's jump into it. So for today's session, we're going to be looking at controlling who can access what and under what condition can they access it is one of the most consequential responsibility in cloud security. And when there is a misconfigured authentication policies, or there's an overprivileged account, as well as there's a poorly secure AI agent, each actually can become an attacker's something an attackers can use to gain access into your environment. So for today, is a like we mentioned, this is not a foundation class, it's an intermediate class to an advanced class, and this session should last us about 1 hour 30 minutes basically, but it can be more like I mentioned. And what we're focusing on for this particular class is Microsoft Entra ID. So I dropped a video also as some of the optional tasks that you should watch if you're not familiar with Microsoft Entra. So we're not going into Microsoft Entra ID again. The resources are available on our YouTube channel, so just go and watch it. So the role for anybody that is managing Microsoft Entra ID is expected to be a security engineer, and the focus is identity and access. So by the end of this learning part, you should have a practical and a defense in-depth approach to assess security across either credential admin or as well as privileged access governance, as well as identity-aware AI application design. So for our learning objective today, these are the things we're focusing on: how to secure authentication, conditional access, and SSPR. So our mentor, Uche, is going to do an amazing job with that. Talk about just-in-time privileged access and identity-aware AI app. Now, for this class, there are some prerequisites, like I mentioned. You must be familiar with the Microsoft Entra ID, talking about users, group, and directory roles. We're not going to go over that. So that's why you should have watched those videos that we recommended. Then understanding of Azure role access control, role assignments, scope hierarchy, then basic experience with navigating the Azure portal and the Entra admin center. Then also be familiar with zero trust principle. Let's read. This was the first class in the SE900, and I took this class. So go and watch the video if you've not watched it. Then understand what Entra ID P2, then Entra ID governance requirements are. So these are some of the prerequisites.
Hi guys, is it my network?
I can't hear anything here too.
I think it's
I think his network is actually not.
Please just let's exercise patience. Please hold on. Just hold on for a while. Okay, so while we wait for our mentor Emmanuel to rejoin, so just to let us know, because I've addressed some questions pertaining to attendance. So we'll be having 2 feedback forms to fill, and that's going to serve as attendance. All right, so we will be getting 1 feedback per, a feedback form per speaker or trainer. There are 2 for today, and just for you to know that your feedbacks are things that we wouldn't take lightly. So this is to get us improved. So in the spirit of continuous improvement, we appreciate you filling the forms. So just to note, so those forms will serve as attendance. I will be dropping the link for Emmanuel once he is done with his session, and same will be done for our mentor Uche after his session. So why it can be dropped now is you are evaluating with the form to be filled. Okay, it is not just attendance. The session, your experience, your take, your opinion, how you feel are all to be expressed using the feedback form. Okay, so that's more reason we can't have the feedback link shared with us now. Okay, I'm sure he's trying to rejoin. Okay. Think technology caught up with him. We just dropped a message now. His system is restarting. Okay, so let's just hold on for a moment. I'm sure he will join as soon as his system is up. So, but while we wait for him, since we have our other mentor Uche on the call, I don't know if you just want to probably introduce us into what you'll be taking us through, just to at least keep us engaged until our mentor Emmanuel Itoje rejoins. Yeah, mentor Uche.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Amos. So, if let me see if I can continue from where he stopped. So he was trying to explain this topic to us about securing our accesses to resources using Microsoft Entra. And okay, let me share my screen. Okay, yeah. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, I'm seeing the slide.
Okay, yeah. So,
Seeing
yeah.
The slide.
Okay. All right. So yes. So this basically concern how access and access controls to resources can be managed by Entra ID. So everyone, if you have an account in the Entra ID with your, Entra ID is like a backbone that manages the Azure portal, and every Microsoft service is being the identity is being managed by the Entra ID. Okay, so the identity grants you access to all the resources. So whatever resources you have, whether the Microsoft 365 or Azure portal or other services like Power BI and the AI services. So this identity Entra ID is like it's like an engine that manages the identity. It grants you access to those resources.
or to those services. So what you do, what it helps you to, the identity you have, okay, it grants you access to, based on the identity and the controls implemented and policies being implemented. So the essence of this topic is to have to grant access and control to those resources using some features, okay, by Microsoft. So one of those features is conditional access policy, and we have conditional access policies and SSPR. We have just-in-time privilege access and identity-aware AI apps. So with this, you can be, and we have also secured authentication, which is the multi-factor authentication that is available, okay, in Entra ID. So I know we've gone through the videos and also gone through the slide that was shared with us, and we see that one of them is one of those features in Entra ID is a multi-factor authentication, which is a security method that requires a user to provide 2 or more forms of verification before gaining access to an account or application. So we know you have authentication and access control and authorization. So if you have an identity which comprises your username and your password, so if you enter those two credentials, it will require you to have another layer of security, which is a multi-factor authentication. So with this, you will be able to it will now grant you access when you have the multi-factor authentication. It's like a second layer of security above your password and username. So there are many ways of configuring the multi-factor authentication. There are many ways. So you can use in the Entra ID to configure the multi-factor authentication. We have the security default that is already in place by default. Okay, for this is the baseline security for every tenant, Microsoft tenant. So if you have a Microsoft subscription for any service which comes with the Entra ID, the security default is already there for the tenant. So, and it's already enabled for you. So if in case you don't have the higher licenses that will require you creating conditional access policies or other keys, you can use the security default to enable MFA. And once it is security default is enabled for every user in the tenant, and you would have to use the Authenticator app for MFA. And other things, another thing is you can use to enable MFA is the conditional access policy, which will be which is one of the lab we'll be demonstrating today. Conditional access policy. So conditional access policy is like an if and then statement. So if a user meets a condition, then what happens? The user will be granted access to those resources. So if the user does not meet if a user does not meet the conditions set by the conditional access policy, the user will be blocked. The user will not be granted access to that tenant or to those resources. So that's what conditional access policy is all about. Okay, and there are things you can in conditional access policies. If you enable conditional access policies, you would have to use MFA is there because the MFA grants you the access. Then you have to put in the conditions. Will it be? We have in putting the condition, we have a network boundary, which is the named location for conditional access policy. So it means that if a user want to sign in from a particular location, the user will not be able to sign in, or the user can be able to sign in based on the conditions that was set in the conditional access policy. So before they look at okay, he has talked about this prerequisites.
I'm back, Uche. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Let me take it back. Thank you so much. Sorry guys, apologies. I don't know what my ISP is doing. They were still here this morning and I complained to them that I'm having a terrible internet. But still, they came to check to say everything is fine. And I told them if it happens again, I'm going to cancel my contract with them. So apologies for that. I can't be paying for 1000 Mbps and I'm getting less than 100 Mbps. It doesn't make sense. All right, thank you so much. So we talked. I wanted to talk about the modules we're covering: the authentication method, privilege, identity management, and secure API. Yeah. So for the authentication method, which is the first module in authentication, right? One thing that Microsoft tried to do is that So for example, now let me go back a bit steps. What is authentication? What is authorization? Now, everyone on this call now, you don't have access to a lab environment. Before the end of the week or early next week, once we have access to the lab environment, everyone will be provisioned, meaning that you'll be given a username and a password. So the username and the password is a credential that we'll be providing for you to sign in. At the point of signing in, that is authenticating. Then authorization, what are the things that you will be able to do? Now, for mentors will be able to assign labs, assign maybe assignments, right? However, you as mentees, you'll not be able to do that. The reason why the mentors can do that is because they've been given a higher privilege and authority to say, to be able to do some other tasks that you cannot do. So authorization determines what are the things you can do. Authentication determines, can you sign into the environment? Now, authentication requires two things, especially in Microsoft, a username and a password. And those things is something that the bad actor, the attacker, can actually, gain access to. So as soon as they gain access to it, that means they can sign in as you into the organization. That's why the concept of multi-factor authentication or 2FA comes in, meaning that after the attacker even have access to your username and your password, right? But because you've configured another layer of security, another layer of verification, it could be your phone, it could be anything, right? So far, they don't have access to that other layer. They will not be able to gain access. They will not be able to authenticate using your account. So the same thing applies across, maybe you're working in an organization today. The moment you join a company, an organization, they will provision an account for you. Let's say you're working with MTN, for example, now. They will give you an account. It could be your first name dot your last name at the domain of the company, e.g., mtnnigeria.com, right? Meaning that anyone that does not have, that is not part of the organization, is not going to have access to the domain, meaning that the person will not have access to the credential to authenticate into MTN directory. So that is where the concept of authentication comes in. But a lot of times, as a Microsoft security consultant, a lot of times we have scenarios in which users are complaining that their account has been compromised. What do I mean by compromise? A bad actor was able to guess their username. Maybe they were using a weak password. They were able to sign into their account. So at that point, the account has been compromised, and the bad actor, which is the hacker, can use the account to do a lot of fraudulent stuff. So Microsoft had to introduce, okay, the multi-factor authentication. Now on this, my screen, you can see three things. We can see what we call passwordless, multi-factor method, and single factor method. Let me start from the third one. The single factor method means a password. You have your username and you're only using password. The moment a bad actor is able to use the tool to actually guess your password and sign in. So there's what called password policy, but we'll not be able to go into all those for today. They're able to sign into your accounts, they compromise your account. It could be maybe security questions. If you remember those times that, like me now, my security question is always, what is my favorite food? And my favorite is very easy.
I won't say it. Or what is the name of the streets that I grew up? Meaning that if the bad actor knew where I grew up, he'll be able to guess using the security question. And there's also an SSPR. SSPR means single sign-on password reset, right? Email too. They can use email. They can use either that security question to reset my password using the either security questions or the email, or they can even use only as a fallback, which is actually a very weak form of authentication. So Microsoft has stepped it forward by using what we call a multi-factor method. That is a 2FA, meaning that beyond the username and the password, they are going to use other means. Other means could mean authenticator app. If you're on this call, have you heard of Microsoft Authentication? Can I see your hands raised if you've heard of Microsoft Authentication? Microsoft Authentication app. Fantastic, fantastic. Right. So that becomes another method, meaning that even if the bad actor is able to guess your password, is able to crack your password, let me use the word crack, right? Because you have an authenticator app. Now, what Microsoft does is that they use what we call push, meaning that they are trying to guess the number. There'll be a number that will be pushed to your Microsoft Authenticator app. So if you require that number to sign in, meaning that if the bad actor does not have access to your phone that has the authenticator, the push, they will not be able to gain access, even though they're able to crack your password. So there's what we call the Auth hardware token as well. That is also another method. Then there's an SMS and a voice. Microsoft uses a lot. If they want to verify your account, they will say, okay, should we send an SMS with a code? It's a one-time code, right? One-time PIN, OTP, or a voice, but it's actually legacy. Microsoft is also fishing it out. Then there's all called TAP also, the temporary access pass also, that is also being used. But today, bad actors can still find a way, a workaround around it. And Damian, you can drop your question in the chat for now. I'll be able to pick up those questions later so that I can finish the presentation. Now, the strongest that Microsoft has introduced, now we'll call it passwordless authentication. You're going to do it in your lab environment once it's provisioned. One of them is what we call Windows Hello for Business. The other one, we call it the passkey. It is bound to your device. That means until the person have access to your device, which is maybe your laptop or your iPad that they're using to sign in, they will not be able to sign into your account because the pass key is actually attached to the device that you are using. Then there's what we call a FIDO2 security key. What does a FIDO2 security key looks like? If you just type on Google FIDO2 security key, you see what it looks like. But I'm going to show us. Can you see this? So this is how it looks like. So this place here is what they will connect to your fingerprint, meaning that it is your fingerprint. You have to plug this to your laptop, to your desktop, right? Once you plug it, then you use your fingerprint to be configured to access your account, meaning that if the bad actor does not have access to this FIDO key, they will not be able to access your account because this key, it looks like a flash drive, but it's not a flash drive. We call it FIDO2 key. So with this key now, you connect it to you. It will be configured by your admin. The admin will give it to you. But in this case, we are teaching you to become the admin, configuring it, using this FIDO key, connect to your system, and use your fingerprints to access your account. Then lastly, the Microsoft Authenticator phone sign-in method also. So these are actually strong methods that Microsoft has actually introduced. Let me move forward. I have a couple of slides before I hand over to Uche. Now, the MFA enforced via conditional access. Now, it's very important that Microsoft introduces conditional access, and you actually need to have an Entra ID P2 license, P1 license, or P2 anyway, to actually be able to configure it. What does conditional access does? It helps you to create, okay, these users, this group, or this application, or the device. Can I, like, for example, now, I remember there was a time I was going to travel out of my current region and I needed to carry my official laptop out of it. I needed to inform the IT team that I'm traveling out of my current region to a different country so that they can allow me to be able to sign in into my work system from that country. So that was a conditional access that was actually, created. And in terms of signals, so the signals could be from users, group, like I mentioned, application, location, and the risk. If there is, if a user is at risk, for example, now maybe a risky users or a risky signing, for example, now conditional access is going to block it. Our mentor is going to explain that during the demo for us. I'm just using this to give us an high-level overview. Then the decision can be, should it be allowed? Like if I travel with my official laptop and I didn't inform my IT team, that means I will not be able to sign in the moment I leave my current region, because there are country that has been configured that we cannot use our official laptop in because of the risk, because we are carrying client data. So as a result, different condition can be set. Our mentor is going to show us either it is allow or block or required MFA. That means if I'm going to sign into an account or into an application, I must configure an MFA, or my device must be compliant. So there is a concept called Microsoft Intune. It's a different technology as part of Microsoft technology. If my device is not compliant, I will not be able to access my official account. Then require strong authentication strengths. Then the enforcement could be grant control, session control, continuous access evaluation, or app. This conditional access is a topic that one of our mentors, Oyima, for part of our series, you can go in and learn more. I'm just doing a kind of a revision for us here. Now, the next one is I talked about passwordless option index. So for passwordless options, we have the Windows Hello for Business, the passkey, the FIDO2 that I told you, the passkey which is attached to your system, the FIDO2 security key, which was the one I just show us now, then as well as the multi-factor authentication. One of my videos, I think I've shared it. The one I asked you to watch in PIM actually explain how this authentication work. Let me move forward because I have 6 more minutes to hand over to our mentor. Then there's all called the concept of self-service password reset. Now, in a scenario whereby you're an administrator of an enterprise organization, let's say 10,000 users. Let's say out of the 10,000 users, 30 to 50 of them, they went on leave. By the time they came back, they all said that because they enjoyed the vacation, they've forgotten their password. So it means that as an administrator, you need to, each of them will now raise a ticket. Let's say out of 10,000, 100 of them now raise a ticket that's reset password. So it is not productive. Yes, let me see. FIDO2 key is also called is a YubiKey. So YubiKey is like a brand, just like a company of FIDO2 key. Yeah, they produce the FIDO2 key. Yeah, that's correct. So instead of you now 100 people raising a request, an IT request that I forgot password, reset my password. So it doesn't make sense for you as an administrator. So you can configure a self-service password reset such a way that when a user forgets the password, they can reset their password again. So the steps include registration, authentication, there could be an hybrid write back or notification and auditing. So these are some of the things that are part of self-service and password resets. This has been covered as part of our series, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is PIN. So I actually asked us to watch the video. I was detailed about this. So what is PIN? So PIN, we use PIN for privileged users. What are privileged users? Users that can do administrative tasks. Global admin, security administrators, authenticator administrators, those are privileged users. So any users that can do some administrative tasks, right? Now, Microsoft introduced the concept of PIN such a way that users should not or do not need to have a permanent role assignment. What do I mean? You should not grant a user a permanent global admin. Users should be eligible in such a way that it is only when they need the role, they will go and activate the role. And they will activate maybe a period of time, maybe 2 hours, or they need the role for a whole day, they will actually, activate the role. That's what PIN does. So without PIN, what's happened is that organization, they have to do a permanent role assignment, and every high privilege accounts are always active, which is actually risky, meaning that the moment that account is compromised, a bad actor gets hold of that account, they can wreak havoc in your tenant, they can lock your data and request for you to actually pay ransom, before you can gain access to the account. And there's a limited audit trail. There is also a large blast radius. So if a global admin, for example, is compromised, that means the bad actors can do a lot of things on the tenant. That's what we call blast radius. And reviews are manual, they are slow. So review audit law, what is happening, what admins are doing with those accounts. That is also happening in the age when there was no PIN. Now, when the moment PIN was introduced, there's what we call eligible assignments that will be activated on demand. Meaning that if I don't need a global admin, the concept of zero trust is very important. If I just need to reset user's password, I don't need a global admin to reset the user password. I can just use a password administrator or user administrator, whichever the case, or FDS administrator, the one that have the right to reset password. So what will be done is that a user will be configured to be eligible for that admin role. So anytime the user, maybe the user is a junior admin now, maybe an helpdesk admin, right? Just to reset password or to do just create a new user, maybe a new user join the organization. I don't need a global admin role to actually create a new user. With a user admin role, I can create a new user, assign the license and all that, right? So PIM helps with time-bound activation with MFA. It helps what we call an approval workflows and justification. What does that mean? So there are some roles that if an admin needs to activate, let's say for example now, the admin need a global admin role. There is always, it's very important to configure an approver. That means another global admin needs to approve before that role is actually, activated, and a justification needs to be provided, right? Our mentor is going to show us that. Then there is need for access reviews and alerts. It's very important to review everything. Who has access to work? Which user has access to what role at one time? So these are things that PIM does, and it also helps us to reduce standing privilege by design. So these are some of the things I mentioned about the core capability of team: eligible and active, activation control, access review, alerts, approval workflows, and that I cannot go into that. So if you watch that video, you'll get more information. So JIT means just-in-time access. So PIM can be done at 3 levels: at Entra role, for an Azure resource, and for a group level. So these demos will be shown to us by our mentor. And again, it's something I've discussed in our previous classes as also. Now, for this module talks about Authenticate API plugin for declarative agents, I'm going to actually hand over to our mentors. Then I'm going to walk us through this part of the presentation, why I also, if you have the time, I'll do the demo for this. So thank you so much. Uche, I'm handing over to you. You can take it up from there. I'll stop sharing now. You're talking on mute.
Okay. Thanks so much. While we wait for Mentor Uche to take over, so we have a feedback form specifically for you, and that's going to serve as our attendance. So we'll be posting another one shortly, but I think just to manage our time. So for
Lost you, Amos. We can hear you.
Okay. Maybe I can continue.
Yeah, you can continue. Please go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's trying to explain that he dropped a feedback on in the chat. So I think that's what you're trying to explain to them. Yeah, so we're going to do some demo on the conditional access policy. So we have the lab. So this is lab 1, or let me share my screen. So the lab 1 here is deploy MFA with conditional access. So as our mentor has explained to us, conditional access policy, and I stated earlier, is if then statement. So it works with an if then statement. That if you want to have access to resources, you need to meet some conditions before you'll be granted access to resources and services. For you to be able to do that, let me share my list. I need to stop sharing. Okay, yeah, so this is the Entra ID. So to be able, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. So this is the Entra ID, and for you to be able to access this Entra ID, you would have to use the entra.microsoft.com as the link, or you go through the admin center. This is the Microsoft 365 admin center, and then under the admin centers, you will see identity. So when you click on this identity, it will take you to the Entra ID. So when you come to this Entra ID, as we know, we want to configure conditional access policy, MFA with conditional access policy. So as I stated earlier, there are many ways to configure MFA through the security default, through conditional access policy, or through the MFA registration. But in this lab, we are going to talk about how to configure MFA with conditional access policy. So in this Entra ID, coming here, this is the conditional access policy. So when you click on it, it will open the settings and how to configure it. So this is the conditional access policy overview. And to create a policy, you can create a name location. So name location is used by the Entra security to define a location or just a network location so that can be trusted. So it means that if I want to create a condition, I want to create a conditional access policy with named locations so that my users, if they are signing in from a particular, maybe I want there's a scenario whereby in the corporate office, okay, I want only users to be able to access some resources from that office or from that department. Okay, so I want only users to access resources based on a location or based on a country. So I can use a country for the name location, or I use IP ranges for that corporate office. So in this, let me say, let's use IP ranges. So you can come here and then create. You come here and yeah, this is the name location. You select IP ranges and give it a name, be corporate office. Just give it a name. Then mark it as trusted location, and then put in your IP range. So let's assume that this is, is a lab. Let's assume that this is the IP range I want to use. So it means that this is the IP range for the office, for the corporate office. So it means that once I've marked this as trusted location, okay, as then and add this is the IP from that location. So it means that Entra ID would receive signals coming from this IP, and once it receives the signals, it will now act on it based on the policies and conditions we set up in the conditional access policy. So creating is creating in progress. So this has been created. This is the one we created currently. Conditional access policy not configured, and this is it. You can decide to use a country, pick a country, and then put in the name of the country you want to use, and then set up country lookup, maybe by IP address or by location. So by IP address means it means that that country you want is mapped up by some IP4 and IP6 IPs. So it means that once it see that IP, receive signals from that Entra, receive signals from that IP, it will definitely know that it's coming from a particular country. Okay, and that's it. So now, once I've created my name location, because I want to create a conditional access policy with a name location, okay, for MFA. So when I come here, come to policies, and then new policy. So I'll give it a name. Okay, user or agent. So, and again, once you are configuring something and you don't really know or maybe understand the settings there are informations if you can see this, click on it, it will tell you what it's all about. Okay, like this target resources, network, conditions. So it gives you information, a summarized information of what you want to do. So this is the users or agents. It means that the users you want to include in that conditional access policies that you want that conditional access policy to work on. And from our lab, we are to do a finance. So we are working on a finance group, you know, a finance group, because of the sensitive informations they work on. We don't want, we want a kind of a conditional access policy that must achieve some conditions before users can be able to access those resources. And if they don't, it will be blocked. So now this, we want to use a group, okay? So come here and this is none. This is all users. If you want the conditional access policy to be applied to all users, this is selected users or groups. You want the conditional access policy to be applied to particular some users or a group. Maybe you create a group and add the users in that group. So the users in that group will be affected by the conditional access policy. This is user and group. Select my finance group. So this is the finance group I created. Select this. So it's there. And exclusion, maybe you want to exclude somebody. The person is probably the person is in that group and you want to exclude, you want to exclude him or her from the group. So you can come here and select users and group and then go and select the user, okay? And then the user will be excluded from the policy. All right, so target resources, this is a cloud app, so you want it to apply to all resources, all cloud apps. This is for exclusion. In case you want to exclude any application, you can come here and exclude it. And again, so there's something I want also consider when doing this these users and groups. You know, you have to be careful when creating this conditional access policy so that your some accounts will not be locked out. So there is what break glass accounts. They are emergency accounts, so you would want to exclude them. You have to exclude those accounts if you want to, so that they will not be locked out once you've enabled this conditional access policy. And we have the target. Okay, we've done it. This is the network. Okay, it has to do with the name location we created. Maybe I want to selected networks and locations. So you come here. This is any network or location, or trusted networks or location, and selected networks. And so you want to do off. You know, when I created a name location, I clicked on trusted. Okay, and once I click it, it means that all the name locations that I created that are trusted will be included. This is any, it means all of them, whether trusted or not trusted. Then selected means I want to specify a particular one that I want to use. So this is the one I created now. And then conditions. So this is now the condition that defines the policy you want to apply. Okay, signing risk level is the likelihood that this is signing risk. So maybe the user is coming from someone that's not the user. Okay, so if the signing risk level is high, medium, or low, the policy should be triggered. Okay, this is insider risk. It has to do with risky data related activities, okay, inside the environment. This is device platform. So the platform the user is using to sign in from. Sorry for that. I think there should be a network problem. Okay. That should be a timeout. So we'll have to start from the beginning. Okay, let's say I want to exclude a user. I might be an admin account. Okay, this is a target. So all resources configured. Okay, yeah, so the condition, so this is the condition that would require for the conditions for the conditional access policy to be acted upon once the user wants to access the resources. So we have the device. Okay, I've explained this one. So this is the device platform. So which the device is the user assignment? Probably I don't want users to use their mobile devices. I just want them to use only the their PC. Let me open it. So this is it. Include, configure it. So any device, if you want them to assign it from any device, fine. If you don't want them, you can specify the particular device you want the users to assign. Because of the risky nature of the finance team, I just wanted to only use their Windows or their Mac PCs. I don't want them to use their mobile devices that comes with Android, iOS, or Windows Phone. I just wanted to use only their PCs, which has to do with Windows and Mac OS or Linux. So I'll just select Windows, Mac OS, probably can select Linux if I want to include it, and then done. So it means that this location is depending on what I want. If the users are signing in from locations other than what is included here, is going to be blocked. This is the client apps. Okay. So it has to do with the application that the policy will apply. So we have the browser, mobile app, and desktop, and then we have the legacy authentication clients. Okay, I'll leave this one. Then, okay, this is the conditions. Then let's go to the grant access. So we have to control the enforcement to block or grant access, okay, based on one. So if I want is require MFA. If I want it to grant access to these guys from the finance team, they must be able to use the MFA. Okay. If I want it to be stronger, I can say require authentication strength. Require authentication strength. So this authentication strength has to do with the passwordless authentications, the Windows Hello, FIDO2 keys, and then this this is the required authentication strength. You now look at the options here. So which option do I want? I want combination of method that certified strong. This is password SMS. This is normal authentication method. This is the passwordless MFA that comes with the Microsoft Authenticator app. Then this is the fish resistant MFA that has to do with FIDO2 key, pass keys, and others. Okay, so let's select. Okay, for this lab where we can demonstrate, let's just select this, and then so this is the session control. So in this session controls, it helps you to manage the sign-in sessions. So sign-in frequency, okay, the number of days, okay, the user will be signing, okay, before becomes inactive. So when you look at this information, say the default is 90 days. The user will be able to re-authenticate on the first attempt to accept after being inactive on the machine for 90 days. So if the user is inactive for 90 days, the user will be asked to re-authenticate. That is the sign-in session. So I can decide to make it the maximum is 90 days. I can decide to maybe make it 7 days or 14 days, depending on how I want to set up my sign-in frequency. And we have the conditional access app control also. So this is monitor, block downloads, or can use the custom policy. Just want to minimize, show you how this is. So this is the sign-in frequency. Okay, the number of days I would want to, even if the user remains idle or inactive, the number of days it will take for them to be re-authenticated again. Persistent browser sessions. So it means that it works for all cloud apps. Allow the user to remain signing after closing and reopening their browser window. Okay, so it means that even if I set it up and I close my Windows, my browser, and I open it, the user will still remain signed in. He will no longer be asked to re-authenticate again. So if I want that feature or want that condition, I could just select this. So it means that even if the user, okay, always persistent. So once the user closes the browser for cloud signing in, the user will not be re-authenticate again. The user can just continue working. Okay, but if I uncheck it, it means that the persistent browser is not enabled. Okay, and there are other settings also here. So I would not want to bore us with this setting. So report only and on. So report only means you are not enabling it. When you click on, it means that the policy has been enabled. And report only is when you want to analyze the policy and see how the policy reacts before you'll be able to enable it. So I click on create to create my conditional access policy. Please, I want to know if you are with me, if you are getting the steps. Hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we are following.
Yeah, we are following you.
All right, thank you. Okay. So okay, there's something I wanted to do. So I created a user. So let me add a user to that group. This is groups. This is the group I used. So let me add a member. So I want to sign in with this user, and see. Yeah. So it's good that we are doing this together. In case you forgot something in the conditional access policy and you want to edit it, you can also as well go back there and then select policies. This is the one we created. So this is the policy details. So if you want to edit it, click on view or edit, and then come back here and then edit. So my condition was grant is control. It has to do with grants, right? Okay, require MFA. Okay. All right, so I've added the user to that group. Let me see if I can sign in with that user. So I'm trying to sign in with that account. So this is, it prompted me, it said, let's keep your account secure. We'll help you set up another way to verify it. So we now follow the steps. Signing couldn't be completed. Please contact your administrator. Okay, there's something I enabled before. So we've seen the behavior of, so while you're here, it means that you will have to set up MFA for that account. But I understand what's going on here. There's something I enabled that it's prompting me to do FIDO keys and phishing resistant MFA. So that's why it's prompting me to do that. Let me see if I can disable that. Okay, it has not reflected. Maybe we'll just give it some time for it to reflect. So this is how to create a conditional access policy. So after creating it, maybe after evaluating the how it works, the functionality, and the behavior of the conditional access policy, you just go back to enable it.
Okay, sorry, let me chime in here, right? Since you're on the page. So for the authentication, going back to the authentication method page here, I wanted to explain something.
I should go back, okay.
Yeah, the page you were before.
This one.
Yeah, fantastic. So we can see different authentication method, right? That Microsoft has enabled by default. So they are built-in authentication methods. So for you as an administrator, let's say, for example, now you want your organization to be able to use the passkey, the FIDO2, for example, now. At the moment, you can see that it is saying no under enabled, meaning as an admin, you have to go and enable it first. If you don't enable it, you'll not be able to connect the FIDO key. Even though you plug in the FIDO key to your device, your laptop, your desktop, whichever one the organization is using, you'll not be able to use it to configure it. So that must first be enabled. The same thing goes for every other authentication method you would like to use in your organization. All right, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. So going back to the conditional access policy. So I say in the conditional access policy, we didn't select this FIDO, the second option. So it was the first option. If you selected the second option, it means that you come here and enable passkey or passkey and other method you want to use in that conditional access policy. But what we selected was the first one, which is multi-factor authentication. So let's go and enable the conditional access policy. So come back to conditional access in the Entra ID, then go to policies and select the policies here. This is the one we created. View or edit, and then on it. So it means that now it is saved. I can save it. So it means that it has been enabled. It has been enabled. Let me try that if it would prompt me for FIDO key again. Let me just close this and open it again. To get the account. Okay. Let me see if it's still prompting for. Oh, it's still work. It's still. It has not reflected. Maybe we'll check it, try it later and see. So let's continue. So this is how to configure conditional access policy. So do I answer some questions or continue with the other one, Emmanuel?
I was going to ask you the one you prefer because there were some hands up earlier. I think let's just allow just two things just to also get people carried along. Some hands were up earlier. Let me just confirm if we still have them. Okay. I have Oshukoya Tomi. You can please unmute to ask your questions, or question rather. Okay, let's allow Ima then. Hello, Ima.
Hi, Uche.
Unmute.
Mine is more of an observation. I observed that when you were creating your conditional access, you blocked all resources without excluding anybody, the admin. So I think that's why the test user cannot sign in. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. So there was no block. Okay, they were just included in the conditional access policy. Yeah, looking at the policy. These resources were to be allowed. You are not blocked. Yeah, I included all resources, but you can see the control, access control is not blocked, is allowed. Grants. What happened was why is not what happened was I enabled the authentication method with FIDO2 key earlier. So I was working on some things. So I enabled it. That's why it's giving me that error. So I need to disable it, and it's taking some time to reflect. That's why we're getting that error. Okay.
All right. Thanks. That shows to a large extent that you have you are following through. Yeah. Thanks for your contribution, Ima. One other and for that presentation. Just one more, and then we can move on. Okay. Isaac Uzu.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay, so it's like there is also a place you set the location, allowed location with IP address. Hope that's not the reason why we are not able to access it also, because you imputed one IP address, 192.168.0.1/24. I hope that's not why we are not able to gain access.
Yeah, let's try that. I think that should be a trusted, trusted location.
Can see we have some aspiring mentors in the house already. Thanks so much, Uche. I mean, that was Isaac.
So let's go through the. Yeah, it's good that we are demonstrating this here, not just so that you see the errors and we'll work on it and discuss on the policies. So the name location actually. Let me just figure. Let me. Okay, let me do something. Okay, I want to. Okay, let's try something. So now I want to make it do it in such a way that I include this name location. Yes. Session control.
So when we're troubleshooting that, right, with a mentor, so it's very important. There's what called conditional access strategy. So that's one thing that you have to do, discuss with your team, change management team before you start implementing. It's always very, very important. So you have a strategic documentation that you'll have prepared as a cloud solution architect, right? From the strategic documentation, it has to be agreed upon across the practice.
especially within if you're working with a cybersecurity team, such a way that if there are locations that you don't want users to be able to access work data or anything that has to do with official, then that will have been discussed already. And if possible, from the information security policies that will be shared with the users that are joining the organization, you will also, include it so that users are aware that if peradventure they want to travel to a location and they don't want the organization to know, even though they are working global remotely, they should know that conditional access policy is going to flag them, either block them or alert the admin that a user is working from a location that they are not expected to work. So these are some of the things that organizations can configure to ensure that users, staffs in the organizations are compliant with the information security policies. So it's very, very important. Thank you, Jake.
All right, thank you. So now, okay, let's work on this. So unless this is, so if it's coming from this guy, okay. Okay, any network or location. Okay, so let's do it this way. So we want any location. So if they want to sign in from any location, okay, or network, exclude this selected network or location because this guy is already trusted. We've already marked this IP range as trusted, right? So it means that if they want to access the resources from any other location that is not in that named location, then grant access, but with a condition that they will require MFA. I don't know if you understand me. So this is how I want us to do it now. The condition. So save. So let me try again and see if it would. It's giving me. Okay, what happened? Let's work on the. We'll come back to this and
I think
conditional
the
access
portal
policy.
you are using to log in this time around is different from the portal you used before.
It will still lead us to the same portal, the office.com portal.
Sorry, I wanted to ask myself, so that portal is like you are logging on from a PC that is trying to access resources behind this Entra. Is that what you're doing?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So the test one user there is a PC.
The test one user.
Yes. So that user,
okay.
that user, you created that user in within the Entra and you set policy within the Entra. So where's that user coming from? Where's the source and the destination of that user?
The user is coming from, is one of the users created. This is Entra ID. So these are the users, all users.
Okay, it's just to help me break it down a little. So that user has his own, it has his own device.
Oh, no. The user has not been assigned any device. So this is a user that has been created with username and password, okay? And it's a member of a group, finance group. So we are creating a conditional access policy, okay, that will be for the finance group.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
How are you testing that user is my question. From where, which
okay,
other...
we want to access a resource, maybe Office 365 resources with that account. So we want to see how, because in our conditional access we say all resources. So we want to use one of the resources, which is Office 365 portal, to see the behavior of the conditional access policy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I remember something. So before let me remove this, we'll come back to that conditional access policy and we'll see how it works. But before I do that, there is a policy I created before, so let me switch it off. I think that could be the reason why it's happening.
I'm sorry, Uche, why you are looking for that? I think also with the last speaker, I share his I think I share his. I have the same a similar question. So I think what I was trying to also understand how you added the user to the policies. So we understand that you have to create. There's a tab to create users and get the user workflow done. So how do we add? Possibly you had done it, but we had missed it. So how did you add a user to the policy?
Okay, how do I add the user to the policy? Okay,
yes.
So this is the
Sorry.
policy.
Can we check also? Can we check the signing logs to analyze how many policy and what they call it in place?
Yeah, I've removed the policy that I think that is causing it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a good one. That's a good one. Thank you. So the last person asked of how to add user to the policy, right? So this is the policy I created. This is the policy I created, and you see, come here, view or edit, and then so this is users or agents. Okay. Then click on specific users. So because the user, I'm working with a group, okay? So I now come here and select include. I want to include these users, and this is guest or external users. These are directory roles. I want to work with a policy, and this is users and groups. Users and groups, and then come here to open. This is the list of users. Okay, all users, and this is groups. So you want to work with a group, or you want to work with a specific users, or you want to work with a group. So because I'm working with a finance group, okay, I selected. Sorry. Okay. So because I'm working with finance group, I will not select.
I'm not seeing anything.
You're not seeing anything?
I can see, maybe it's your network.
We can see it. We can see
Check
it.
your network. If you can't see, you can exit and try to rejoin. Yeah.
So this is users and this is group, because I'm working with the finance group, and that user is already a member of that finance group. Okay, finance team. So this is the account. This is the finance group. I've selected it. It's great that because it's already a member of the it's already included in the conditional access policy. If you want to select another group, you can just select this one and then click on select. Okay. I don't know if you've
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let me just try this for one more time, because I see that
This.
so let's keep your account secure and see. Same error. Same error. All right. We'll come back to this. But we've all understood how to configure conditional access policy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll go to the next lab. So in the next lab we'll talk about PIM, privilege identity management. So as we all know, privilege identity and management. So it means that there's no standing privilege for anybody. Okay, so because of zero trust and policy, Microsoft has made it possible for you to give users limited least privilege roles. So it means that they will not be able, the global administrator is the highest role, and they can do anything in the tenant. So because of security reasons, zero trust policies, and Microsoft wants your tenant to be secured, they made provision of these privilege rules, and also JIT. Okay, just-in-time access. So it means that just-in-time access means that you give a user a role with a limited amount of time. So it means that probably the user can be able to use that role for 2 hours, or after 2 hours, the role will expire and the user cannot be able to do anything with that role. And that's it. So, and to configure that, you also have to come to the Entra ID, and then under the Entra ID, you have the privilege identity management. So it's with this that we can configure PIM. So in this place, you can see the task and the manage. So as an admin, maybe you have been given an eligible assignment. Okay, in PIM we have the active assignment and eligible assignment. So active assignment means that the role the role has been activated. Okay, and then you can be able to carry out some functions. But eligible assignment means that you are eligible for some roles, but you cannot be able to do it do some things with that role until it is activated. So that's eligible assignment. So it is when the role has been activated that it can be an active assignment. So this is it. Once you come to this PIM, privilege identity management, you see you want to do PIM for Microsoft Entra rules. So you click on under manage, click on Microsoft Entra rules, and then you will see rules here. Then select the particular. See, these are the Microsoft Entra rules that are available, least privilege rules. Okay, that are available. So you can decide to choose any of them. Maybe let me say team administrator. Let's just use something simple. Okay, let's use user administrator. Okay, let's use group administrator. Okay, so this is a group administrator. Okay, we'll now configure some settings for that. So because we want to configure PIM for group administrator role, so come and do the role settings. This is the role settings. Okay, we want to configure the role. See, these are the default settings there. Activation maximum duration is 8 hours. Okay, and these are the, so we want to edit these role settings to suit on what we want.
I should have watched my
So now activation maximum duration Okay, we can leave it at 8 hours. Let's see, maximum 24 hours is the maximum here. Okay, we can slide front and back to the, you can type what you want here. So you can leave it at 8 hours or 9 hours. On activation, none. Azure MFA or Microsoft Entra Conditional Access Authentication Contest. So we want it to require MFA. So if I want to activate that rule, it will require me to put in my MFA for security reasons. Okay, and then require justification and activation. Why do I want to activate this rule? So you must put the reason why you want to activate that rule before you will be able to request for activation. Require ticket information and activation. This is in case the user requested through a ticket. Okay, maybe raise a ticket for the admin to give him or her a list and privilege rule. So put the ticket informations, and then other settings. Require pre-approval custom extension to activate, require post-approval custom extension to activate, then require approval to activate. So it means that somebody must approve the activation. So if you request for a role to be activated for you, you know that you've been added to as eligible assignment has been given to you as a user, and you want to activate it. Someone must approve the activation. You click on next. Allow permanent eligible assignment. You can say yes or no if you don't want it. So you cannot select how many days before this eligible assignment will expire. If you want permanent, you can click it and keep it permanent. So it means that this user, if I set permanent and I give someone eligible assignment, it means that the user will be eligible for that role. Okay, for that role. So anytime the user wants to use that role, he or she will come and do what? Activate, and then an approval will be given. Okay, we'll come and request for activation, and then the admin will come and activate that role for that person. And according to our settings, 8 hours. So it means that once it's activated, it will expire after 8 hours. And once it expires 8 hours, it means that that user is still having that role as eligible assignment. And whenever he or she wants to use it again, the user will come on also and then request for approval or activation. That is permanent eligible. But if I said no, it means that it must expire after 15 days, after 1 month, after 3 months, after 6 months, before the user will no longer be able to use that eligible assignment again. So for test purposes, let's just leave it permanent. Then allow permanent active assignment. This is the what we call standing activation. It means that once it is activated for that user, it will be for life. There will be it will not expire. Okay, expire active assignment after. So if I say no, it not tell me okay when is going to expire. So require an active assignment, require justification on active assignment. Okay, we've already set up this before. So click on notification. Role, we can decide to leave this or keep it here in case just to, if an approval comes in, you can put in to receive alerts. So this is role assignment alerts. Okay, you can put in your send notification when members are assigned as eligible to this role. Okay, imagine that you are in an organization and you want a role to be assigned to you, raise a ticket, and then the admin gives you the eligible assignment, okay, for that role. Then put in your ID, your email address here. It means that once I gives you the eligible assignment, you receive alert that the eligible assignment has been given to you. Okay, this is a lot for the extensions. So, okay, request to, this is for the approval, this is for the assignee. Okay, then this is send notification when members are assigned as active to this role. Let me just put something. Let me just put. Okay. send notification when members are assigned active to this role. So it means that once the role has been activated, okay, you would receive an alert notification to the assigned user. So once, okay, this alert will be sent to the admin, this will be sent to the assignee, the person that is giving the active assignment, and this alert will be given to the approver. Same thing, send notification when eligible members activate this role. So once they activate, the role is activated, the admin will receive an alert. This is email address for the requester, the person requesting for activation, and then of course the approver by design will receive the alert. So this is the settings, and then click on update. So we've done that for the group administrator. We've done the settings. Now let's do the assignment. Oh, I shouldn't have closed it. I shouldn't have closed it. Okay, so this is the settings, okay? And then this is assignment. You come here, click on assignment and go back to add assignment. So eligible and active. So eligible, as I stated before, the user will be eligible to make use of that role, but will not be able to use it until he or she requests for the role to be activated. And once it is activated, the user will not be able to use it. And if it is activated, it will not be here, active assignment, okay? Or I can decide to do an active assignment without asking the user to going to the approval process. I can just come here, add the role for the user here, okay? But let's do.
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
Guys, it's already 2 hours, right? And like I mentioned, we know that this session is going to split over by additional 30 minutes, right? I will ask our moderator to share the form that you need to fill so you can fill it. Anyone that wants to drop off, you can drop off. Feel free to drop off. You know you have other things. The session is being recorded, so you can go back to watch the remaining part of the recording so that our mentor Uche can round up on this session. And I'll introduce our next speaker is actually on the score also, so that we'll prepare for the next session for next week. Thank you, Uche. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'll be very fast now. So so quickly, this is eligible assignment. Let me do that. Add the user. I think I'll still add the user I created. So next, so I want it to be eligible, yeah, permanent eligible. Then assign. So once this user, let me refresh the page. So eligible assignment, can you see the user is here as eligible assignment? So if the user wants to make use of this role, group administrator, he would have to sign in with entra.microsoft.com. Okay, sign in with his account. Once the user has signed in, okay, and then they will be prompted to, I think that's it. I don't know if this will still work. That is nothing. Still work. I've not demonstrated how this works. Let me see. Entra.microsoft.com. Same error. Okay. All right, so it's working now. So this is the conditional access policy. Can you see the behavior of the conditional access policy is working now because this is my first sign in. So I can decide to set up the Microsoft Authenticator app or use a different option, maybe because they use a phone or other stuff. So let's just quickly, because of the time, we'll just use other options for maybe let's just use phone because of other options. So why practicing it? When practicing it, I know the lab will be made available for us. So while practicing it, we're there. You can ask questions in the group, and we'll guide you on how to do it with the Authenticator app. But because of our time, we'll quickly use the phone authentication. So I've received a code that has been sent to my phone number. So this is the code. So I've been able to demonstrate the behavior of the conditional access policy. So now the next thing is to do the PIM. So now I have given this user, this test user, the eligible assignment. Okay, so I want this user now. So what happened now is that this user will now request. Okay, so this is the Entra ID. Okay, once the user has been given eligible assignment, the user can be able to sign into Entra. Okay, with entra.microsoft.com, and then come back to ID and governance, and then select PIM, privilege identity management. So this is it. So I'll come here and go to my rows. Okay, this is my rows, Entra rows, and then you see the eligible assignment group administrator. So if I activate this row, it will now come to this place. Okay, now there's nothing here. Let's try to activate it. So activate. Okay, duration. Okay, so this is 8. That was the maximum duration I selected. So I can select between 0 and 8. Okay, and then reason, I must give a reason why I want it to be activated. Let me just raise manage groups, just put it there, and then click on activate. Hello, someone? Okay, so click on activate. So it's activating. So it means this activation means activation request is scheduled. Okay, so it's not let for the admin will receive an alert based on those notifications. I didn't configure most of them. So and then go and activate it. So let me go back to the admin portal to activate it. So this is admin. I will now go back to, okay, let's just come back to privilege. So come back to ID governance, privilege identity management, and come back to approve request. So this is the request for role activation. Okay, click on it, click on approve. Of course, you have to check very well to confirm that you are doing the it's not a security risk and know who requested and not. So click on, so you can approve or deny. So once you approve it, let's approve it. Approving. Okay, It has been approved. So let's go back to the user. This is the user. Refresh this page. You see it's not in what active assignment. So it means that this user now will not be able to use this group administrator and manage groups and other things that the group administrator role can be able to do in the Entra ID or Microsoft 365. So this is how to configure PIM and then activate and activate PIM in Entra ID. So I don't know if any question on this.
Guys, if you have a question, I think one hand is off. Ene, you can ask your question. We have just less than 20 more minutes to round up the session. I want to introduce our next speaker for next session, then also tell us about what did you expect during the week. Ene, do you have a question? You can ask your question.
Yes, I do. Good evening, everybody. So I have two questions actually. So the first one is, when it comes to conditional access, how long does it take for it to activate? So for example, I noticed that you made some changes and then I don't know, it had to take some time for it to like activate. So let's say that we are making like a change and then we go back to check, and then how long do we expect that changes to like take effect? And also the second question is, when it comes to privilege identity management, what happens when you want to assign roles to like multiple people at the same time, and let's say these multiple people are not in the same department or group? Is there a way to automate these things than just trying to like, making it work one after the other, or trying to assign these things one or the other? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So okay, for the first question, which is the conditional access policy, sometimes it could be the network. Okay, there is no SLA for most of these features. Okay, there's no SLA for them, so it takes effect most times this immediately, and sometimes it takes a longer time, okay, for them to take place. But most times it take effect immediately. What happened in our own scenario was that there were so many other configurations in the back end. I had to go and, at the end of after much troubleshooting, which we all did together, I had to go and disable a conditional access policy that was created before that is causing that issue. Okay, so that's why it took some time before it activated. And for the privilege identity management, you want to have a number of users, so you can use groups. Okay, you can use groups and then assign those roles to them as a group.
I thought you said different roles. So that was our question, sir.
So
yes,
different roles.
Let's say different
departments. Many users.
Yeah,
different departments.
Let me pick that. So there is no way to automate it, right? Unfortunately, there is no automation that Microsoft has provided for that. So for different departments, so we expect that the best practices generally in Entra IDs are create security groups. So if you have security groups for, let's say, HR department, security groups for finance department, right? You automatically know that people in finance department, there are some maybe enterprise application they should have access to, right? So you just create that group for them. So automatically people in that group should have access to that. Or let's say the people in the finance department need to have a billing administrator, for example. Maybe since they're in the finance department, for example, now they need to be able to see the invoices are being charged, take care of those things. So you just create a security group for them, then assign the role to that group. So in terms of automation, there is no provision from Microsoft on how to automate it for different departments. So just leverage on security groups for them. That's what you can do. Then, and for your question on the conditional access, I dropped a tech community group in the discussion in the chat. You can just read it up. Like our mentors mentioned, there is no SLA for it. So it might take time, it might happen immediately.
So, but best practices across from my experience with Microsoft is to basically give it some time. When you create the policies, just give it some time, maybe a few minutes, right? Then try it again and see if it's going to work. I hope that answers your questions. You're talking on mute in case you're talking?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Fantastic.
It does. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. John, yeah, your question.
Hi, thank you so much, Uche. So my question is, I saw when you were trying to activate the Microsoft Authentication app, but because of time, you decided to use other methods. So my question is, can you, apply the same, like use the Microsoft Authentication app and also use the code, the phone number one and the other ones at the same time for one person?
Yes, you have the option. Yeah, so once you are setting it up, after the Authenticator app, there'll be an option for phone authentication.
It's actually recommended that you use more than one. Let me give you a practical example. I had a test tenant when I became a Microsoft certified trainer. In a test tenant, the only option that I created was Authenticator app. There was a time I lost my phone. Because Authenticator app was the only method, I don't have a backup method like SMA, SMS, or phone, right? I lost access to that tenant. I had to contact Microsoft support. The ticket was transferred to data protection before I was granted access again. So from that experience, I just said no. For any tenants I'm managing, apart from using the Microsoft Authenticator app, I'm going to have a backup method, which is SMS or phone call to my phone number, if possible, more than one phone number. So that's another best practice.
All right, thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, Elu, your question, please. Elu, Emmanuel.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Boss Emmanuel and Uche. Thank you so much for this rigorous class. My question is this. I know we didn't touch about that part, but I would like us, if not now, probably later, or I need some guide on it. I've tried on CA earlier, but I'm a bit confused, or I don't really grasp the part where when you put it on report only, the details, the option you get, let's say, how do you interpret or see the feedback that, oh, this policy is being applied, this policy is not applied, why it's not applied, and all of that. So that's a bit concerned. I'd like to get clarity on using conditional access. Thank you.
Okay, so basically the report only just for you to have know what the impact of the conditional access policy. Okay, you have not activated it. Okay, you just kind of put it on report only. You have to. So how do you you go to the sign-in log. So from sign-in log, you check the user and check the sign-in logs. From the sign-in logs, you know the policies that is acting on the account at that moment once you sign in. So with your sign-in logs, you'll be able to review it and then know if this conditional access policy is acting on it. So that's the essence of report only. I don't know if you
does it answer your question?
Yeah, it's a bit clear, but I'll look at my end signing logs and then see what comes out. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Ibel, your question, please.
Okay, good job, Uche and Emmanuel. Mine is just a contribution to the question Ellen asked earlier about the time taken for policies to take effect. So I will just contribute by saying that for existing users that already exist, when you apply, policies based on certain users or groups, I think sometimes with Microsoft it's a bit tricky. So sometimes I would just advise you just go to your command line and run the GP update command to actually, refresh the communication between the user and then the cloud platform to actually ensure that the policies are, applied immediately. Because sometimes when you apply certain settings, they don't take effect. In fact, sometimes you have to, troubleshoot, restart user computers, and then before the policies will actually take effect, because I do IT support from different platforms. So that's one of the issues with Microsoft that I've observed. But with Linux, it's immediately. With Mac OS, it's immediate. But with Microsoft, yeah, sometimes you have to, run certain commands to actually, for those settings, or group policies or security policies to actually take effect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so for Microsoft, there have to be populations. They have to replicate whatever you configure, because you're on the cloud. You have to give some time to replicate, and running some commands can also help at times. Yeah, thank you so much, Abel, and thank you, Handy, for that as well. I think I still have two more hands. Before I take those two hands, I want to quickly introduce our next week's speaker, and he's on the call. I know he might want to leave very soon, so that he can just introduce himself and also help us in terms of what to expect. Then also, if possible, summarize the session. Mr. Oluwatosin, Ajala, can you, if possible, you can turn on your camera, introduce yourself to our mentees so that they can know that you're actually on the call. So Mr. Tosin is actually my mentor, actually. So I'm even shocked that he's on this call. Can you please, sir, if you're in a place, you can turn on your camera, just introduce yourself. Are you still with us on the call, boss?
Yes, just a minute, please.
All right, sir. So the session is actually already, while we're waiting for him, is actually hosted on our meetup. So what I want us to do, this URL will share with us, and please go and register for the session. I told us why we need your support earlier on, right? So this is going to be a very powerful session, and because he's actually an identity and access management subject matter expert, I even want him to even give us some tips on conditional access and also on PIN based on his experience as well. All right, boss. Over to you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good to see your face. Good evening, sir.
It's been a while. It's been a while, yes.
I saw your face last in 2021 at
I remember.
Hotel. Yeah.
Yes. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Oluwatosin Ajala. Emmanuel is a colleague of mine, so we work together. Uche has done a fantastic job. So when it comes to conditional access, okay, you are not seeing me.
We can see.
We are seeing.
We can see you, sir.
Okay. When it comes to conditional access, I always say it is application specific. I get it because there's always a target for an application when it comes to conditional access. From the word conditioner, I get it. It is being conditioned with some certain prerequisite for you to access an application. And when it comes to troubleshooting, conditional access can mess you up by getting it. Even the so-called the product group themselves. Sorry, I've worked with Microsoft, so when it comes to some conditional access, they will just tell you at this point, just tell the customer to just find the workaround.
There is nothing we can do.
There is nothing they can do. I get it. That is the product group that owns the conditional access. Sometimes they get confused. Sometimes the customer, yes, constant. It is the customer that will not tell us like, you guys make a mistake here. I get it. Because there are several layers of conditional access. There's what we call service dependency. I get it. That is attached to applications, but it is not visible to customers. And that's why it's always difficult to separate Microsoft cloud resources. For example, if you are targeting of 365, then there will be a problem with Exchange, with Teams, highlighting it, with OneDrive, and there will be a problem. And that's why you call them service dependency, that before you enforce it, please think about it. Highlighting it. So the only thing I would just say when it comes to conditional access, before you enable it, put it in remote report only. That is, you are only trying to observe it and go to your signing logs to check. He's not really doing anything in your environment, but he's just doing audit that if I enable this conditional access, what are the implications? I get it. And Emmanuel was sharing his own experience. Currently, I'm battling one currently. One of my test tenants have been locked out. I get it. And going through the process of data protection team is always stressful. Try to call you. I did one recently and it wasn't very nice. The experience was somehow. I get it. So conditional access in short, like my own, I call it application specific because there's always a target for an application. Once you meet the requirement, and please take your time to play around with it. I get it. Even now it's now better. Conditional access now, you can see the policy impact. Before there was nothing like that. You do it manually. And most of the time we get locked out of the tenant. But now it's better. You can simplify it. You can check, you can troubleshoot easily, and even check the policy that is affecting it. And for the PIN, just enough, just in time. GIT, I get it. It is part of zero trust, and it is a must in all organizations that I get in. And sometimes you see that PIN that you are looking at it can sometimes not work. There is no week we don't get a request on PIN is not working. So I need to be honest with you. Every week, customers complain that PIN is not working. And somebody asks for SLA, that is service level agreement. For conditional access, Microsoft recommend that there is no real-time scenario sometimes. There are some glitches. Why? Because Emmanuel mentioned something. It needs to replicate. Sometimes it goes as far as 40 servers. I get it at the back end that if it does not replicate enough, it will not work. So Microsoft recommend that once you enable anything, wait for like 2 to 5 minutes. I get it. 2 to 5 minutes. Then refresh your browser. And if it does not work, sign out, sign in again. And that is applicable to, so you see PIN, we always have issue with PIN. SharePoint is a problem with PIN. What they call SharePoint administrator. So PIN is, that SLA does not applicable to PIN. I get it. Sometimes, according to the rule, there's one incident that is happening when you enable PIN via a device. But thank God for Intune that just brought out endpoint privilege that tried to mitigate that part. When you enable all these Azure local administrator for PIN, the rule says 4 hours because of PRT, that is primary refresh token. It does not take effect after 4 hours. Even 8 hours, we have seen 1 week. Can you apply PIN to AD that, sorry, what was that question? That was created on premise? Yes, if it's an account, in as much as synchronized to Azure, you can apply PIN to it. I get it. You can apply PIN to it. But the SLA for PIN, sometimes it can go beyond a day, 1 week, and you are still troubleshooting. And what they will tell you is PRT. The token is not effective, especially on devices. That is where we have an issue. And it is always advisable to use a trusted devices. I think let me stop here. My name is Oluwatosin. I've been in Azure for over 8 years. I started as an engineer, technical lead, now subject matter expert, then also dive into security. So Azure is everything, and it's a good privilege to be on this platform and to be part of this journey. We'll meet next week.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. It's a privilege to have you join us.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. So Isaac, you can ask your question.
Okay, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to ask this question again. Please, can you hear me?
Loud and
clear.
Okay, so my question is centered around the authentication methods. Okay, and I'm talking about the Authenticator app, Microsoft Authenticator app now. For example, if you have enabled Authenticator app on your device, mobile device, for example, and you want to replace your mobile device, is there a way you move the authentication to the new mobile device, or you have to go and start registering it again?
Okay. Let me answer it. I'm a practical example of it. It happens to me recently. Now, on Authenticator app, You can do backup. I getting it. You can back up all your, yes, there's a backup. You need to use an account to back it up, all the profile on the Authenticator app. You can go to the Authenticator app and check. And at the same time, I will suggest something, because like two-factor authenticator, I troubleshoot both left and right. I will go back and be registering that device one by one, because anything can happen. You might think you have backed it up and you want to restore it.
I
Something
changed my
will just
phone
happen.
recently. I backed
And
up, and yet I cannot sign into all my tenants.
so that is like that backup option. I didn't really follow it. I rather start afresh. I get it. I rather start afresh by registering the account one after the other across all the platforms that I have it enabled, just to be sure. I get it. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And once you register that device, please test. I get it. Test it. And that's another thing again. Test that device is really registered, and if MFA is prompted, you can sit on that new phone, not on the old phone. Please. That's very, very important.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Because I'm saying this because I have one phone, and whenever I want to authenticate, I was supposed to have given the phone out since, but I'm still making use of it. Whenever I want to authenticate through any of these resources, I have to go and bring out the old phone and use it.
So you need to require registration and register in your phone. Yeah,
just go and register it. Once you log in, go to sign in, then register the phone, then test it, then just ensure that the MFA is being prompted on that new phone.
And that's the phone. I think what Emmanuel said before, you have a backup also authentication, maybe phone or SMS in case anything happens. So you can use it to have access to your account.
Not all company or clients
they will allow you.
That. Yeah, I get it. Most of them prefer, in terms of hierarchy, Microsoft Educator app is the best. Exactly. I get it. Now they are not pushing for passkey, so they are trying to eliminate
passwordless.
Okay, now security question is not part of SSPR anymore. Why?
Yeah,
Microsoft is not regard it. So they have migrated SSPR from legacy to authentication method, and they remove security question. A lot of customers are complaining about it. I get it. So there are some method Microsoft is taking away. Why? Don't blame Microsoft. It is from the customer, the feedback we are getting, based on the ticket you are troubleshooting, because this project, this customer. So they are trying to limit it to authenticator app, passkey, I get it, then security key.
Thank you so much. Ozima, this is the last question we're taking. This is already 6:31. Ozima, can you ask a question?
If a user is added to two different groups with different conditional apples that somehow cannot treat each other, let's say one group allows GIT, the other gives. Okay, for this, if a user is added to two different groups with different conditional access that somehow cannot treat each other, let's say one group allows GIT just in time, and this now when it comes to GIT, if it's under PIM, there is a rule I get in it. Once MFA is prompted in the first time when you log in, MFA will not prompt again. Because why? I will go back to PRT. Sorry, I'm going deeper. PRT is primary refresh token. I get in it. And 14 days. It lasts on your device for 14 days. So once MFA is already prompted initially, I get it. It will not prompt you for MFA again in PIN, because it will nullify, because that token still exists, which is called active token. And it lasts 1 hour. I get it. That gives admin. So it will not prompt for MFA. And also, if you are coming from a trusted device, let's say device is joined to Azure AD, it's part of trusted device. So MFA is not a must. I get it, except that device is not a trusted device.
So SSO works at that point in time, single sign-on.
Yep. So it makes it more perfect. Sorry, have I answered your question, Arinze?
You can react to it, yeah. Ozima, yeah, the last question. Hi, Ozima, you're talking on mute in case you're talking.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My question is, please, the software, that Entra, Microsoft Entra.4, does it have a free version? so that this demonstration we can download it and use it to practice on our own. Because since it's a practical section, the more you practice, the more you have it understood. Yes. So that on my own, I can be practicing because it's very interesting to have such a knowledge.
Maybe Uche wants to answer that. Uche.
Okay, so the Entra ID does not have free version, okay, but as I rightly said earlier, the lab will be made available for you. You can use it to practice once it is available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because you meant to answer that, Entra is
nice.
not a software, right? So to say, it's not really a software. It's a portal, right? It's a portal that requires license, but a demo account will be provisioned, right? Once you have access to the environment, so everybody's going to have an environment to practice to play around with. All right, thank you so much. Amos, I'll be handing over the mic back to you. Sorry, we overtook your session. Hi, Amos. Amos, you there?
Yeah. Thanks so much. Think you've done a marvelous job when introducing mentor Oluwatosin. This point, it's good just for us to appreciate all the mentors who have spoken today, the two speakers. And just before we go, please, if you are yet to fill the feedback form, as mentioned earlier, kindly do so. So there are two of them. You can see that we have them posted again. I think just one of them. Please, let's just do that. One is going to form the feedback, the attendance rather for the class, and we'll be using the details just to create our access to the Azure test environment. Okay. I think it's okay to just appreciate our mentors. Let's say, let's make their heads swell. Done a fantastic job with our emojis. Yeah, thanks so much once again to our mentor, Emmanuel Itoje. We had the mentor Uche, and Toast gave us what I would say just for us to look out for come next Saturday. Thanks everyone so much for your time. I wanted to say enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I remember that there are things to catch up with, but all the same, enjoy your weekend. Bye.
All right, bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Thank you everyone. Bye.
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 Bye. For the wonderful section. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
How to hear my voice.
It's not an easy thing, oh.
Don't worry, it's going to be easy. Just take it day by day, week by week.
Oh gosh. I press so.
So conversation continues on the WhatsApp group. Yeah, bye.
All right, bye. Bye, everyone.